Hello, everybody. It's Royce Eddings here, and I want to welcome you all to my channel, The Four Horsemen. First thing I want to do is introduce my esteemed panel. Next to me here is Michael Nolan, The Bottom Line. Michael's got one of the fastest growing channels, well, the fastest growing channel I've ever witnessed. He's up to about 47,000 subscribers. And you know what? Numbers don't lie. He's got a great show, everybody. Please, if
Thank
you're
you,
not
Royce.
already a subscriber, go check him out. Then let's see. Let's skip down here to Chris. Chris, I know you have a show. You do a show for some senior citizens on Zoom, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And you're always welcome to put a link up, you know. And
Well,
I
I
know
have a few times, but it's a Zoom link, and it never
Yeah.
seems to stick in the chat. It always seems to get pulled out.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Well, I was wondering what was going on with that.
For some
That
reason,
may-
they don't like
but-
Zoom on YouTube. I don't know.
Maybe
that may
not,
be an
no.
algorithm guard, Chris. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay, well,
Sure
just
sounds
Get
like
to
it.
my show by going to my personal YouTube page, and in the About
okay,
part,
okay,
it's in there.
okay. Sounds good. And you go on what days?
Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, so it'd be noon for you guys.
Wednesday at noon. Okay, thank you, Chris. Appreciate all the knowledge you bring to the show. And next to Chris and below me is the one and only Just the Facts Man, and his name is Dan. And Dan's got a big show. I recommend everybody go check out Just the Facts Man. He just got back from, of all places, Birmingham and London, England. Visited, what was it, a museum where all Aussie stuff was being kept for the, from the back to the beginning, posters and all kinds of artifacts. And
yeah, it's the Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery in Birmingham.
yeah, right. Well, that's totally cool. And Dan, Dan sent us an amazing book,
Yes, he
Ozzy
did.
Osbourne, Last Rites. I've just started to read it. I'm very excited to be reading it. It looks like it's going to be fantastic. Have you read any of it yourself yet, Dan? Yeah, there it is.
Just a few pages of it, and it sounds like Ozzy is talking. So that's what it sounds like when you read the book.
Yeah,
And
I
I got you and Michael the book, but I didn't forget Chris. I noticed he likes
okay.
things hanging. He likes things hanging up behind him. So I got him something from Abbey Road.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
cool.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Wow.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, my copy of the book's on a little table next to my bed. That's really cool, Chris. Congratulations. So anyway, guys, we got an amazing show tonight, okay? And so the first thing I want to say is welcome to the Four Horsemen, your ultimate destination for all things rock and roll, classic rock, and some heavy metal thrown in. We're not into all heavy metal, but boy, we love Black Sabbath. We love
Metallica.
Metallica especially,
Yeah.
Black Sabbath. We love a lot of them. Then there are some that are just kind of over the top. But anyway, beyond that, we're celebrating the legendary artists, timeless albums, iconic anthems that defined generations. We cover the music you love, the stories behind it, and the history that made it happen. And the show tonight is going to be just amazing, guys, because we're covering the Yardbirds, one of the greatest bands to come out of the early and mid 60s, during the, the British invasion. Even before the British invasion, they were knocking it out of the park. So we're going to be covering the Yardbirds and their enduring legacy, along with the enduring legacy of the main guitar players, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page. All three iconic, maybe three of the best. They are three of the best guitars. Some people would say maybe the three best guitar players in all of rock history.
Some people would.
I know. Well, Dr. Insomnia brought an important little fact to my mind. Okay, and before Eric Clapton became the guitarist for the Yardbirds, the first one among the three that I mentioned, there was another guitarist that you don't ever hear about. And I was really glad that Dr. Insomnia, I appreciate when you bring these things to my attention. His name was Anthony Topham, or just Top, He was the original lead guitarist when the Yardbirds formed in 1963, but left in October of the same year, feeling the pressure of touring and parental disapproval. His parents wanted him to stay in school. He was very young, but he was a good blues guitarist. And if you look him up, Anthony Topham, nicknamed Top, Anthony Topham, okay? You will find him on an album, and you will find a performance of his, okay? And I think you're going to be impressed. He was no slouch. I mean, the Yardbirds wouldn't let anybody in that wasn't great, okay? So the Yardbirds, an English rock band, had a string of top 40 hits in the mid-'60s in the UK and the US, and introduced guitarists Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page in that order. Their first album released in the UK was Five Live Yardbirds, and I just picked that album up. I just picked that damn album up, okay? And I'll show it real quick. I've showed it the other day as one of my Christmas presents on my New Year's stream, okay? This is Five Live Yardbirds, and I'll just pull this in a little bit because this is pretty damn amazing. I'm going to read what it says here. It is a Record Store Day release, and 1964 first live album contains Eric Clapton's earliest recordings, folks. The vinyl has been out of print and unavailable until right now. Translucent red vinyl, collector's edition, one pressing worldwide. I mean, this is the only one out there, folks. The deluxe package includes a printed inner sleeve. And this is a great album. I did show it on my New Year's celebration where we brought up some of the things that happened at Christmas time and stuff. But great album. I just thought I'd pull that out as we come up to some of these things. And I want to welcome everybody in the chat. Really appreciate everybody showing up. So, okay, so that was the UK debut live, Five Live Yardbirds, December 1964. Now, the US debut was a studio album, For Your Love, in June of 1965, okay? So let me just I know you people, everybody here is going to recognize a whole bunch of these songs. I'm gonna quickly just list some of the top songs by the Yardbirds, okay? You know, psychedelic blues rock hits like For Your Love, Heart Full of Soul, Shapes of Things, Over, Under, Sideways, and Down. I'm a Man. Who could forget that? Showcasing their evolution from R&B to experimental rock, with guitarists like Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page. You'll be hearing those three names a lot. With classics also featuring other classic songs, Train Kept a Rollin' and Happenings 10 years time ago. Okay, so Eric Clapton was the original. All right. Some of the songs they released, Eric Clapton just didn't want to do that anymore. He thought they were maybe a little too pop heavy. Clapton just wanted to play the blues. Clapton is a blues man. All he wanted to do was play the blues. So after leaving the Yardbirds, he played on John Mayall on the Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton, featuring Eric Clapton, 1966, which cemented his God status in the UK blues scene. The album is often referred to as the Beano album because, well, you know, guess what? I just happen to have one right here. Often referred to as the Beano album because if you look close, and we will look close, okay? Let's take a closer look, and you'll see that Clapton is reading a comic called Beano. And because of that, right here, you can see it if it was closer. You can see that it says Beano. It was a popular comic, and Clapton's reading that, thus the nickname, the Beano album. Anyway, that's kind of a fun little thing there. But okay, so let me get smaller here, folks, and get back to business, okay? Before we get the panel really heavily involved. Okay, so all right. Well, after Clapton left the Blues Breakers, John Mayall's Blues Breakers, he then formed Cream. Cream, maybe one of the first ever super groups, with Jack Bruce, bass and vocals, harmonica, and the infamous Ginger Baker on drums. And they released 4 studio albums before breaking up. And there was some live stuff as well. Okay, so once they broke up, he went ahead and he formed another group Blind Faith. Okay, formed Blind Faith with the one and only child prodigy Stevie Winwood. Okay, Rick Greck and Ginger Baker, which was kind of a surprise because Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce in Cream did not get along at all, and they recorded just one album. Their debut album was their one and only album, and then they broke up. Okay, so what I'm going to do here real quick, just because we've discussed a couple of things, I'm going to show a couple of more things, okay? All right, so like I said, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail because we've got a lot of ground to cover, but this is one of Cream's popular albums. This has some studio and some live on it, okay? And this is Wheels of Fire by Cream. And this is a great album. I like it a lot. And of course, I said after they broke up, they started Blind Faith, added a new member, Rick Greck. Once again, Ginger Baker and the bass player, Jack Bruce, and singer, great singer. I loved his voice. They didn't get along very well, so it was a little bit surprising that they put this together with both of those two people in it again. And this is the band album, for obvious reasons. I've heard anywhere from 11 to 14 years old on a young lady on the back. But anyway, she is covered up.
She was 11.
11. Okay.
Yeah. Remember,
Okay.
Dan
Thanks,
said
James.
that
Thanks,
they wanted her 14-year-old sister, but the 11 exhumed more innocence. Isn't that what you
Right.
said, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Now I have to show this because this is all Clapton stuff here, and this is Layla, maybe the greatest album Clapton ever made, one of the greatest albums of all time.
I agree with that.
Derek and the Dominoes, Layla. This is an absolute classic. It's almost like Derek. It's almost like Eric was hiding his true identity because of the love he had for. Who was it? Patty? Hold on.
Boyd. Patty Boyd.
Yeah, Patty Boyd. Thank you, man.
George Harrison's ex-wife.
George Harrison's ex-wife.
Yeah.
There's a whole story that goes along with that we could spend an hour on.
Do you know, Royce, that was the first album that when like I told everybody on my stream, Layla, which you sent me, and I am so grateful for that. That was the gift of the year, like I said before.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was really surprised when I came across another copy of it.
That was wonderful, Royce.
Yeah, I got to get this again.
My friend who taught me my first 6 chords, his name is Co Burnett. He's 1 year older than me, so closer to your age than he is mine. And so he was kind of the boss when we hung around, 1 year made that much difference.
1 year made that much difference. That's right.
So he turned me on to that. But before he turned me on, he says, I want to show you this. But first, let's go over to the high school to the monkey tree. And it was a nickname for this tree. We called it the monkey tree.
Okay.
And so he turned me on to the first time I ever smoked pot. And I heard that album stoned out of my mind. And it was like, holy shades, what an eye opener. So that's a very important album for me.
Very, very important album. Yeah. And, I think for everybody, if you're any kind of a, blues or an Eric Clapton fan, it came out at the right time. And it was just amazing.
Bell Bottom Blues.
Bell Bottom Blues, Layla.
Yeah. And the band, Carl Rado, Bobby Whitlock, who passed away. So, and then Jim Gordon, who later killed his mom, and died last year, I believe, in a mental institution. Sad story. But everybody said he was the top session drummer for the Superstars. Everybody wanted Gordon, and these guys all met together while recording George Harrison's All Things Must Pass. That's the only reason Derek and the Dominoes exist,
Right. Hey, Michael, I've got someone backstage, and it says, well, first of all, I didn't say anything to you because we understand that one of the main trolls was going to turn over a new leaf after the first of the year.
Uh-huh.
So he actually popped up on your channel when I came on, but he was up at the top with disappearing rapidly. I thought, do I grab him and time him out, or do I just let it
No,
go?
man, you know what? You and I've talked about this, Royce. What I would do is, if the man is worth his word, let him stay and make great comments and everything like that. I'm hesitant because
Yeah.
of past endeavors by him. But
Well,
if
yeah.
he's being truthful and
Okay.
not trying to be a troll, he's got a certain basic amount of talent. He has a lot he could offer to
Well,
the vinyl community if he sets his mind to it.
I'm
But
glad.
I'd have to see
Yeah.
it for a while, you know.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because that was the decision I had made after what I had
Good.
heard was coming up.
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't want
Yeah.
to be a spoiler, and but now
Right.
I've got someone backstage now. Kate, you're in the twat waffles alert. Okay, that's not you backstage, is it, Kate?
No, it ain't.
No, it ain't. Okay.
Well, we have also
Royce, go,
suspect number 2, who shall not be mentioned, but we know his name as well, and
Royce, go
he
back in
might
the
be
chat.
out there.
Sorry,
Okay.
Michael. Royce,
Yeah.
go back in the chat to when you first put the link and delete it. This way,
Okay,
there
well,
won't be any extra
yeah.
people coming in.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. I just banned him, and he is Kate 38, but then he was starting to say something, or he or she, whatever, was starting to say something a little off color, but there wasn't enough screen to see what it was. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's sad.
honestly, it's
anyway, it just whoever it
another
is, and I don't know who it is.
Uh.
We may never know who it is, but they have been banned. Okay. And I am going up and I am looking for the link, and I haven't found it yet.
So, Royce, I guess what you're saying is that there is such thing as a bad boy?
Yes, there is. We just
Oh.
can't say for sure who it is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, go figure. Because
right.
I've heard on good authority, or at least she thinks she's on good authority, that there's no such thing as a bad boy. I've not found that to be true in life. But
I haven't either, Michael.
yeah. But I've also made major mistakes in this one individual we were talking about before in my life, and I've had to pay for them, and I've had to. I almost drank myself to death. So I'm all for second chances and everything. And like I said, and I mean this sincerely, the guy has some talent. If he could just keep it down the narrow, that's always been my problem with him, and stealing content. Yeah, I don't like that. So anyway.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I've been watching from afar, and so far, it looks like a good direction he's heading in, and I applaud him for it. And just keep it up, because that core personality that brought that out in you can rear its ugly head, and before you know it, I did see him on a stream where he behaved himself quite well.
Oh, yeah.
And the old personage would have taken several baits that came his way, and he wisely stayed away from it. So thumbs up to you. But
thank you. Let's don't dwell on it anymore. It's just,
no.
It's just interrupting the show at this point.
I understand.
No. I hear you.
But you got to take care of business, and it was a good time to insert what we're trying to do here anyway, Royce.
Okay, so. Since we're on the subject of taking care of business, I do absolutely want to do a shout out right now. Last week, I had 3 super chats from Michael Boswell. He came in with $2, then he came back with $2, and then he came back with $5. So Michael Boswell contributed $9 to the show. But then I had 3 $10 super chats. One from my dear friend Michael Nolan. Another one from Stormcop 55. James, how you doing, brother? And the third one was from Piccolina. Hi, Piccolina. And then Novice Nick came in with a super chat for $1.99, and we really appreciate that. Doesn't even matter what the amount is. The main thing is that you guys come to the chat and enjoy the show. That is so important, Michael Nolan Warhouse, what do you know? A super sticker as we speak. So anyway,
I meant to get that in earlier, Royce. I'm sorry, but you reminded me. And see, sometimes you do got to take care of business.
Right.
There's
Okay,
more coming
Michael.
at another time, Royce. You've been more than gracious.
No
Both
worries.
you
No
and
worries.
Dan. I appreciate you both so much.
And we appreciate you, and we love your show. And yeah, I mean, you helped make all this worth doing.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't just absolutely love the hell out of three of you. All four of us.
Well,
I love the hell out of me too.
yeah,
I mean, if you don't,
no
who else
kidding.
is gonna?
Yeah, if I
Yeah,
do
so-
exactly, Chris.
So thanks again, much appreciated. And there's
Absolutely,
Dr.
brother.
Insomnia, the fake Sonny Boy Williamson who played with the Yardbirds. Yardbirds was actually Alex Miller, who stole Sonny Boy's identity after he died. That is really crazy. Okay, while we're on that subject, I want to get back to the panel. But speaking of Sonny Boy Williamson, I told you I have a few Yardbirds albums.
Royce, you might, before you get into that, you've got another super thanks. Rock and Robin Bird reporting for warrior duty.
Okay. Oh my God. I have this Yardbirds album that's featuring Sonny Boy Williamson, and maybe Dr. Insomnia can shed some light on the whole thing. Thank you, Rock and Robin. Much, much, much appreciated. Thank you so much.
What, you throw you a deuce hammer?
Yes.
All right.
Swung the deuce hammer. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So this is what I want to look at. Okay. Now, Dr. Insomnia, you tell me, was this the fake Sonny Boy Williamson right here on this Yardbirds album? Man, I'm sorry that's not bigger than it is. Let's see.
I hadn't heard this before. Now I'd like to know.
Yeah, well, this is the Yardbirds, London, 1963, their first recordings. Okay, and we've got Sonny Boy Williamson and the Yardbirds with Eric Clapton live in London. So this is basically very similar. This is probably the one that's been out of print forever, because this is the one that's one-time printing on that one. So anyway, I'm just curious if you know Dr. Insomnia, please let us know. Is that the fake Sonny Boy Williamson we were talking about? Okay, so let's move on there, folks. Okay, so Chris, let's come down to you for some comments on the show. The three iconic guitarists, or the Yardbirds, or all of the above.
Well, just to get started, they definitely are the top three. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure and the honor of seeing Eric Clapton when I was 16. It was my first major show.
Yeah.
I've since seen Jimmy Page 3 times. I had a chance to see Jeff Beck, but it was in Michigan, a while away, and I don't drive. And for the life of me, I couldn't get anybody to take me. I offered free tickets, gas money, everything. Nobody would take me.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I've saw Jeff Beck twice. I can't say that I've seen the other two gentlemen, and it kills me to have to admit that because I'm a big fan. So anyway, yeah,
amazing. I mean,
yeah,
the Yardbirds, I honestly don't have, and I'm ashamed of myself to say it, but I don't have any of their actual albums, studio albums or anything, but I have a couple of their compilations.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Via like some Jeff Beck stuff with the Yardbirds, Jimmy Page stuff with the Yardbirds, like individually from those artists too. So.
Yeah, well, this is interesting, this whole thing about Sonny Boy Williamson, because if you look right here, Dr. Insomnia says the real Sonny Boy Williamson was murdered after a gig in Chicago in 1946. So that's pretty damn crazy stuff, right?
Wow,
there.
I have never heard that story. That's like, wow. I love, I got to look this up.
And Dr. Insomnia says,
slightly mind not knowing a story like that.
I know, I do too.
Yeah.
Alec Miller stole the identity after the real one died. I mean, that's like insane. And I have it on this album right here.
Sounds like a freaking movie to me.
Oh man, definitely a drama.
Yeah.
Well, I saw Jeff Beck twice, and both times it was at the Experience Hendrix tour that they do every couple of years. I think they don't always get over here to the coast, but I saw it at the Arlington Theater in Santa Barbara, and I saw it again at the Blues Festival right here in Avila Beach, about 25 minutes away. So, boy, what if you ever get a chance to go see Experience Hendrix, your mind will be blown completely. I've seen like all, the best guitarist in the country playing Hendrix songs to pay tribute to Jimi Hendrix.
Mhm.
Okay, brother Dan, what you got for us?
Well, when I did research on all three of these guitarists, one thing I discovered was that it seemed like the Yardbirds could produce great guitar players, but they couldn't keep them. and so what I did a little research about, the makings of the Yardbirds. Mainly, I focused mainly in on the Yardbirds.
Why do I think the name Rolf will come up?
Well, I thought, the history was pretty cool. I thought, there's a lot of stories within the Yardbirds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, because when Eric Clapton, he was there from what, 63 to 65, I believe.
Right.
And
63 to 64.
Yeah, it was just for a couple of years. All it was.
Right.
But at the time, Jimmy Page was a studio musician, as well as learning how to be a producer. And someone came to Jimmy Page and asked him, "Hey, Eric's getting ready to leave the band. Would you like to take his place?" And he really wasn't confident of himself, at the time, and he really liked what he was doing. He liked being a studio musician and being a producer. And then, but he said, "But I do know somebody that would be interested. That'd be my friend Jeff Beck," and because they had known each other for years before that.
Exactly right.
So, because also Jimmy Page didn't want to. Eric Clapton didn't know that the word was being put out for him to be replaced. It was just kind of an unspoken thing, and Jimmy Page didn't want to step on any toes. But so anyway, they brought Jeff Beck in, and I guess about a year or so later, they were doing a gig one night, and there was, I guess, a singer that Jimmy Page described it as a punk type show, and a lot of people didn't care for it, and a couple of band members were upset on how it went, but Jimmy Page thought it was great. But the bass player did not like it, and he walked out. He walked out of the band. And once he walked out, they said they had a few more shows coming up. And they said, well, we're going to need a bass player. So Jimmy Page said, well, I'll step in and do bass, for these shows. So Jimmy Page steps in as bass. And at this point, I guess a little while had passed. And I think Jeff Beck kind of took it bad because they eventually, Jimmy Page went to guitar. So now you got two guitarists, and as Jeff Beck said, we are overqualified in guitars. We are underqualified in writing. So then Jeff Beck suddenly just left the band, and so Jimmy Page took over. So that's two of the guitarists gone now, along with the bass player. And then, when was it? I guess just about a year or so after that is when they decided just to fold the Yardbirds. So basically, Jimmy Page took the foundation of the Yardbirds and created Led Zeppelin from that. So basically, that's how the Yardbirds kind of warped into the Zeppelin because of Jimmy Page.
Well, Led Zeppelin was supposed to be the new Yardbirds, and they weren't going to call themselves Led Zeppelin, even though the name had been bandied about it even 2 years prior to that. Yeah. But was it Chris Drea that had a problem?
Draja,
yeah. Who that damn Jade gets me every time. But anyway, he at first was going to be the bass player for the new Yardbirds, and then he backed out, and then he didn't like Jimmy taking over the name, and there was some legal finagling, and so that's when they finally said, we'll call it Led Zeppelin. But if that hadn't happened, think about that, Dan. Tonight, we'd just be talking about the fucking freaking Yardbirds.
Yeah.
And what if that bass player could hold it together enough, because I don't think he was any John Paul Jones, and we got even a more bare bones, because you weren't going to get a keyboardist with him. What would Led Zeppelin have been? Well, or would they have brought in like a Nicky Hopkins or somebody and made it a 5-piece? See all these little things. What ifs in other universes, in adjacent universes, alternate realities. That's what happened.
Yeah. Right. Hey, I gotta say something here. First of all, hello, Johnny L. Haven't seen you in a while, brother. Good to see you. Anyway, and also Dawson Walters. Is that the real Dawson Walters backstage?
No, it is
right?
not. No, it is
Okay.
not.
Okay, because I want to say right now we have the full Four Horsemen panel up right now, and once we have that, we don't add anybody. Now we rotate people in. Last week we had a substitute Four Horsemen. The week before that too. If there's somebody missing, we'll pull from the group whoever happens to be here that we've had on before and stuff like that we have faith in, and we'll pull them
In
on.
recent weeks, it's been Royce and Chris that have been kind of like the host and co-host with two replacement horsemen.
Yeah, so that happens a lot, and anybody's welcome to come on when that happens, you know. But whenever we have the full panel, we just stop at the 4 and don't add any more people. So you're saying that's not Dawson Walters down there, huh?
No, did you end up deleting that link?
Yes, I did.
All right. Whoever it was must have opened multiple tabs then because they're still backstage.
Yeah. Well, we're dealing with it as
get a life.
We'll ignore this kind of a bitch.
Get a life.
But I would like to do, if I could, is add a little bit more detail to what Dan and Michael were just saying. When Jimmy Page joined on bass, it was because Chris Dredge walked away.
Yeah.
And then he decided to come back, and that's when Jimmy Page decided to jump on guitar for a while.
Yeah, just keep in mind we're kind of going, I can't say chronological order, but I don't want to start with the Yardbirds, first album, and then we're finishing the show with what I was talking about an hour from now. Right. So anyway, I know it makes it kind of complicated because everybody knows different parts of the story, and you want to get your part out there when it's your turn to rap, and we understand that completely. But I was kind of going like, okay, so we have the Yardbirds. That's kind of the main focus. I got a couple of more of their albums I was going to show, and then I was moving down to Clapton, who was the first guitarist, Beck, who was the second guitarist, and then Page. Okay, and so anyway, just keep that in mind. And maybe the smart thing for me to do is even like bring that up when the show begins, that we're kind of working sort of in a little bit of a sequence. Because if not, we're going to be going, toward the end, toward the beginning, in the middle, back toward the end, back to the beginning. So anyway, just to kind of maintain a little bit of order. And if we don't maintain any order, I don't really give a damn. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that. Okay, Keith Relf, who this Keith Relf, he died pretty young. I just read like at 33. But he was an excellent singer, man. That guy had a great way. You don't hear much about him anymore, but he was a superstar as far as I was concerned. Okay, so all right, I'm just catching the chat up a little bit. They were the new Yardbirds just to fulfill contractual obligations after the tour ended. Yes, that is exactly right, and we are heading in that direction. So without further ado, let me head that direction a little bit more. Okay, so when Clapton left, okay, Cream, Blind Faith. So Clapton started Cream, he started Blind Faith. And after his time with Delaney and Bonnie, after Blind Faith, he released his first self-titled solo album in August of 1970, showcasing a blend of rock, blues, and soul. Okay, so Jeff Beck, and we'll stop right there with Clapton for now. Jeff Beck, after leaving the Yardbirds, his first album was Truth. Okay, Jeff Beck came in next. He replaced Eric Clapton in the Yardbirds. He'd also been recommended by Jimmy Page, the Yardbirds bassist at the time and the future Led Zeppelin guitarist. Beck left the Yardbirds in '66 due to an illness, and I didn't know it was due to an illness. I knew they were already working on. He was already working on his first album at the time, and Jimmy Page was even laying some tracks down with him. So anyway, Beck, after leaving the Yardbirds, his first album was Truth, released in 1968, featuring Rod Stewart on vocals and Ronnie Wood on bass, and is considered a proto-heavy metal classic, okay? Proto-heavy metal classic, laying groundwork for hard rock alongside bands like Led Zeppelin. Beck also had an extensive solo career, releasing 14 albums under his own name, or with various formations like the Beck group. So anyway, we're at Jeff Beck right now, but I got a couple of things. I got a couple more Yardbird things to show. Now you've got to check this out, folks, because this, I know Michael's seen it. Maybe Chris has seen it. I don't know. Maybe Dan's seen it too. But what we have here, I was actually doing a home inspection for a lady, kind of a hoarder. You couldn't even move through her room, and she was selling it. She called me to do a home inspection, and she had stuff everywhere, a lot of stuff. Okay. And I finally said to her, I go, do you have any vinyl records? She's trying to get rid of a lot of stuff. I didn't know how she was all going to do it for the closing of the house. So she says to me, oh, you want vinyl records? And I go, yeah, you have some? And she goes, well, I just gave them all away. I had a big collection, rock and roll. And boy, I was just like crushed. She goes, but I do have this, the Yardbirds Golden Eggs.
Yeah.
What? And she goes, this, I didn't give this one away because it had water damage, you know. So she gave it to me. But what's really epic about this, I don't know if you guys
the back cover, yeah.
Back cover. And let me find my place here because it's kind of hard to read from the front. Let's just say we take down here, we have Eric Clapton, okay? Now you have to follow the line, okay? Eric Clapton goes over, up, here, and I'll start reading where he went, okay? Eric Clapton wound up with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, as I previously mentioned. The Eric Clapton and the Powerhouse that included Stevie Winwood and Paul Jones. Then he came down. He set up Cream. Aretha Franklin, he did some session work for in 68. Blind Faith in 69. Plastic Ono Band. I'm going right across the line here. Clapton, Plastic Ono Band in 69. He played with Delaney, Bonnie and Friends in 1970 and put out his first solo album in 1970. And Derek and the Dominoes was also 1970. And of course, this is a pretty old album, so everything's not going to be here. So I just love how this shows you where everybody went.
And he was a member of the Plastic Ono Band. The Plastic Ono Band was a band that included any intermittent members as fully pledged members. He was the first lead guitarist, along with Alan White, later from Yes, of the Plastic Ono Band, with Klaus Vormann on bass and John Lennon on rhythm guitar. What a great band.
Okay, well, let me, yeah, that is a great band. I got the two other great guitarists here. We'll start with Jeff Beck. Okay, his line comes across and goes down, and it's the Jeff Beck group. Donovan sessions in 68. Jeff Beck group with Robert Tinch in 71.
Who just passed away this year.
Oh, wow. Stevie Wonder sessions in 1972. And Beck Bogart in a piece in 1973. And I just because I mentioned it, I didn't bring out all my albums for everybody, but I wanted to bring out, you know, what I thought would be a decent sampling. I've got the Beck Bogart and a piece, and I've got a video out on Carmen a piece. And I love the statement he made. You know, if Vanilla Fudge would have stayed together, we could have been as big as Led Zeppelin, or at least Deep Purple. That's exactly what he said. I said that in the video that I put out. It was a fun little video. I think it's only like 4 minutes long or something like that, but it was fun. So anyway, here they are. And we've got, of course, Jeff Beck here on guitar, Carmen Apiece back there on drums, and then Bogart right here playing guitar. One thing I want to say about this, guys, is Vanilla Fudge was a big band. They did a lot of covers. They didn't have a lot of original stuff. Their biggest hit was a Supremes cover, Diana Ross, the Supremes. But it blew up. It was big. But what I wanted to say about this, before I get too far off track, is when they were touring, when Led Zeppelin was touring, they were at one point early on, they were opening for Vanilla Fudge. And the story I told, Bonham sat, you know, after they opened, he sat off the stage and watched, you know, a piece. He watched a piece drum. A piece had the drum company make him extra large bass drums and extra big toms, and it gave him a much heavier sound, you know. And Bonham was off to the side. Bonham already a superstar, but he was off to the side studying the piece's style. I thought that was an interesting story. Okay, so all right, let's see what else do I have here. So anyway, I was talking about this. I was talking about where these guys went. And we've got, Jeff Beck here. It went all the way down to Beck, Bogert, and a piece, and I just showed their album. Okay, so then we have Jimmy Page. He comes over. He goes up to Led Zeppelin in '69, and then session work with Donovan, Joe Cocker, Cartoon, etc. 1969. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of the three topics of the show here. And I love that album. I really love the chart on the back. I've never seen anything like that before. So let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, we already covered Clapton. So I just want to show, I could have chosen from 25 albums, but I really haven't shown this before. And this is Eric Clapton, The Lady in the Balcony. The Lady in the Balcony. And you know what this is? This came out during COVID, okay? In February 2021. Eric Clapton's live shows at the Royal Albert Hall were canceled due to the global pandemic. Determined to play, he brought his band together in the English countryside. In the absence of a live audience, he decided to record the performances. This 2 LP set is a culmination of their sessions together at Cowdray House, West Sussex, England. Okay. And we had Eric Clapton, Chris Stainton, Nathan East, and Steve Gadd, and then produced by Russ Titleman. Okay, so I'll just read the song list real quick. Okay, we have "Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out," blues anthem there. "Golden Ring," "Black Magic Woman," "Man of the World," "Carrie," "After Midnight," "Bell Bottom Blues," "Key to the Highway." I love that. That's a great blues song. "River of Tears," "Rock Me Baby," "Believe in Life," "Going Down Slow," "Layla," "Tears in Heaven," "Long Distance Call," "Bad Boy," Michael. There are no bad boys, right? Got my mojo working. So here's the studio they set up. And this is a double album set. And when I came across it, I'd never seen it before, and I just couldn't resist. So,
and that's called Lady what?
The Lady in the Balcony, lockdown sessions. Everybody
That's
was
funny.
Out.
It sure looks like Eric Clapton in a picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Where's the lady in the balcony, Mildred?
Bearded Lady was at the carnival.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see then. So that kind of, I'll since we're moving past the Yardbirds a little bit, I've got into the individuals. Let me, I've got something going on here. Okay. This is the over, under, sideways, and down the Yardbirds. Okay. And this particular one, we have Jeff Beck. Okay. Hot House of, I can't even say this, Omagrashid. Hot House of Omagrashid. What Do You Want? Over, Under, Sideways, and Down. Great song. Lost Woman. Turn into Earth. Jeff's Boogie. I Can't Make Your Way. Ever Since the World Began. He's Always There, and Farewell. I found that for $17 at a used store, and I couldn't have been happier, Over, Under, Sideways, and Down. So last but not least, I have the Yardbirds' Greatest Hits. All right. Yardbirds' Greatest Hits. And this has Shape of Things, Still I'm Sad, New York City Blues, For Your Love, Over, Under, Sideways, and Down, the name of the last album. I'm a Man, great hit. Happenings 10 years time ago, great hit again. Heart Full of Soul, huge song, and probably the song that made Eric Clapton leave. It wasn't bluesy enough for him. Smokestack Lightning, great blues cover. I'm Not Talking. Okay. So anyway, that's my Yardbirds albums. Let me move these two other stacks up, and then we'll proceed with caution. Okay. All right, so let's get the panel back up here. Got to have my panel back up here, and let's talk about any and all of this. Okay. Hey, Michael, my brother, what you got there for us?
There's an album that I would recommend if anybody can get. It's Yardbirds featuring performances of Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, and Jimmy Page. You get a taste of all three guitarists.
Yeah. And
this so far is my only Yardbirds album.
Okay.
But I tell you, you were talking about Jeff Beck. You gave me my only Eric Clapton album so far. I'm severely lacking in Clapton, but I've got the Jeff Beck group with, is this the one that has Bob Tench on it? Yeah. Bob Tench, who just passed away. You said his name was Robert Tench. Everybody called him Bob or Bobby.
Bob. Okay.
Right? Yeah. My favorite vocalist of the band. I have Jeff Beck group. This is the one that has the song Going Down. I defy anybody to show me a Jimmy Page solo or an Eric Clapton solo that's better. Maybe as good, but not better. This is one of the most fantastic solos in rock. And then Beck Bogard Nappies.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I wore this thing into, I had to replace it about 8 times in my younger life. And then he graduated to a more jazz infusion element, which is the thing that makes him maybe the most interesting and ranked number 2 in my life. And that's why I got so many albums by him for a guy who only has 150 albums.
Yeah, and, that's a big percentage, really. You know?
Yeah. And I picked up the one that features all 3 guitarists for $20 off of one of Patrick's auctions, and so it's in great shape, and it's my launch point, right? And I still haven't gotten into it. I played it once. I love it. You got to put yourself into it. Royce, here's the thing. Nobody's understanding. This was a band that absolutely demanded to be pop sensations, and they couldn't help but make the same mistake over and over and pick the wrong goddamn guitarist to do that. Because all 3 of the guitarists we're talking about tonight did not like the pop presentations. I think they were both right. And between Rolf, mainly, the lead singer, who died, I think he was electrocuted live on stage, if I recall. That's why he died so young. But he was the pop pusher. Chris was kind of going along in that area, right? That's probably why Page was so quick to replace him when he said, well, maybe I don't want to do it and all of that. But they kept... that's a classic mistake. You don't pick a heavy metal guitarist if you're singing Beatles songs, right? You just don't do that. And they did that every time. And from that is their greatness. Their own mistakes are their greatness. They are the consummate proto classic rock band. From them, the latter classic rock, and later Beatles would include in this, but later Beatles, where classic rock took on a mantle, from Rubber Soul on, and guess where the germ all sprang from? Was it the Beatles? No, the Beatles were finding their way from pop sensations and doing their own thing and growing rapidly. These guys were still of the old ilk. We'll grab a tune, we'll steal it, just like Led Zeppelin did later, and we'll rearrange it, and we'll take arranging titles from it and everything. Matter of fact, Led Zeppelin took one of the Yardbirds renditions, and Jimmy Page laid claim to arranging it when it was a Yardbirds arrangement.
No, they argued over that,
We're talking about, this is the germination of rock chit-chat and stabs in the back. So we're starting to talk about managers like Mickey Most and Peter, Grant. The scene was growing at such a phenomenal rate. Nobody could keep up in the day.
Insane rate.
Yeah.
Jeff Beck kind of brought a psychedelic sound to the band.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, and then when Jimmy Page was in there, he's more into the guitar orchestration. It's where he wanted the guitar to sound more of the Zeppelin sound, which was
although Jimmy Page played on psychedelic records. He's on Sunshine Superman.
Yeah.
So he was a bit psychedelic, I think, Dan. But I think but I think what you're talking about there with Jeff Beck, he was slightly different than the other two,
especially from Eric Clapton.
That was
yes, and he willingly took long excursions down roads where Jimmy would do this wonderful jazz rendition off Houses of the Holy, albums on several cuts. But then he'd leave it alone and didn't go back to it too much. Jeff would make a whole Wired, Blow by Blow, Jan Hammer, Jeff Beck and Jan Hammer, and all of that. Jeff would take it to the extremes, and that's why it used to be Eric Clapton #1, Jimmy Page #2, and Jeff Beck #3. Clapton's now in the third spot. Beck is in the second spot, and Jimmy Page is #1. Because of all those mistakes people say he makes, it's worth catching him on it. It's because he's so freaking exciting to listen to.
No, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. Let's look at Dwayne Wolonica brought up something that's seldomly talked about, and I am aware of it. But Stevie Winwood was also considered for Led Zeppelin, but he was involved with Blind Faith already.
Oh, really?
That is a fact. Yeah,
I hadn't heard that.
And Dr. Insomnia is all about the proto metal.
When were they considering bringing Steve Winwood in?
Well, before they ever hired a singer. He had that thought before they talked to anybody.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Well, okay, all right. So maybe I did remember hearing something about that. Now that you bring it up, because everybody says, went to Terry Reid. Terry Reid told him Robert Plant got it, and that's not the truth, because actually Jimmy wasn't.
That's not the truth.
He was talking to 3 or 4 singers.
Oh, yes, he
I
was.
remember that, and so maybe that's during that time period. Yeah.
Well, didn't he want Steve Marriott from Humble Pie too?
Yes, he wanted Steve Marriott.
From the Small Faces in Humble Pie, correct.
Yep.
And of course,
would that have made them a small Led Zeppelin?
Probably. Okay, so Dan, any more right now, or?
Well, another thing I really got into was I really focused in on Jimmy Page, and it's kind of not so much his talent, but how he looked at his guitar. He had a guitar that he really loved that Jeff Beck had given him years earlier, and it was a Fender Telecaster, and it was just basically, I guess, Jeff Beck had got it from a friend.
Okay.
And then Yardbirds had made a deal, and they got into some money. And evidently, Jimmy Page, this when Jimmy Page still lived at home with his parents. And he said out of nowhere, he hears this roar coming up his driveway. He looked out there, and there's Jeff Beck pulling up in a Stingray Corvette. And he said, we just made a deal, got some money, so I bought this Corvette. He goes, and I want to give this to you. And he handed Jimmy Page the guitar that he had used in the Yardbirds. And Jimmy Page just loved that guitar. Because
I think that's the one he painted psychedelic and everything.
Yes.
That's the one he used in that very first televised presentation of them being Led Zeppelin. And that's the same guitar he plays throughout that entire show. There's no Les Paul at all.
Yeah. He recorded an entire Led Zeppelin 1 with that guitar.
Yeah.
And he also recorded Stairway to Heaven on that guitar.
And a Telecaster.
Yeah.
A Tele. Not even a freaking Strat. A Tele?
Not even a Les Paul. Yeah.
Well, he wanted to try something new with his guitar, So after he got it, he put these round mirrors on the guitar. He said that way the light would reflect off, and he could reflect it into the audience, and interact with the audience that way. And then he decided, well, I'm going to do something else with it, So he took the mirrors off, he stripped it all down, and painted it with the dragon tail. I think it was what he called the dragon tail. And,
I've seen him play the bow on that guitar, and I've seen him many times play the bow on the Les Paul. And I got to tell you, that guitar, the Tele, had an attack with that bow that wasn't quite matched with the Les Paul. And he had another guitar he'd use in the studio too. But on stage, most of the time you see him with the Les Paul.
Well, he loved it. He loved that Stratocaster. I mean, the Telecaster, because Jeff Beck gave it to him, and he said the history of that guitar kind of followed his journey through the music industry.
Right.
And so when he was with Zeppelin, they went on tour one time, and he left the Telecaster behind at home, and he bought a guitar from Joe Walsh. Bought a Les Paul from Joe Walsh.
I thought Joe Walsh gifted it.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry.
It may have. He got that guitar from Joe Walsh, and they go on tour with it. But he had this friend of his that was watching his house while he was gone, and when he gets back, his friend said, "I've got a surprise for you." He goes, "Look at this guitar." Totally repainted Jimmy's guitar.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy was so upset about that,
Oh God, yeah. Imagine.
Basically ruined the guitar. He said it wouldn't play right anymore, so he was so upset about that he disassembled it. But he took the neck off and he used the neck on another guitar, I guess, for some other reason. But he said he was so disgusted, he just put that guitar away, and it's been housed until 2017. And this happened like in 1970. So
think about that time period, Dan. Most rock stars were ruining their guitars with psychedelic paint. The Beatles were doing it, and you see them 5 years later, and there's big chips painted, chunked out of it and everything.
Well, he eventually unpacked it,
Yeah.
I guess just for memory's sake. Then he contacted Fender, and they got old photographs from the original guitar, and they duplicated it. And now you can actually go buy a Jimmy Page guitar with the dragon on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
The closest I'll ever have to his guitars, I own a Epiphone Les Paul that has the same color structure, the Sunburst, same color and everything that he has, and that's why I chose it. Couldn't afford a Fender, but I got this. As a matter of fact, it was the last year model of Epiphone while Les Paul was still alive and had an active contract with him. So I thought, I want to get it just for that year, Hey, and it didn't cost an arm and a leg.
check this comment out from Piccolina the cat. Carmen was a piece of work.
I love it.
I know, me too. That's great, Piccolina. Awesome. No, we've got just so many great comments here from everybody. I don't care. Dirty Mac was the first real super group. Okay. You guys familiar with Dirty Mac?
Nope.
Weren't we talking about Dirty Mac oh no, wait a minute. That may have been another stream. I'm not familiar with them. I thought that was the one that we were talking about Fanny and on our last show. Maybe that's where I remember that coming up. I'm not familiar with Dirty Mac. I don't know if that's a joke or if that's an actual group. What are all female musicians playing Fleetwood Mac songs?
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Eric Clapton holds the record for the most number of shows played at the Royal Albert Hall. Well, that's interesting.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I think he probably holds the
record. He holds the record for the most nominations into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And maybe
there's a one CD compilation of 24 of his a 24 night stand at the Royal Albert Hall. It's called 24 Nights. It's a 2 CD live set mixing between the three. He had 3 different sets for that when he was at 24 times. Cool. He had a rock set, kind of an orchestra set, and a blues set. And there's a little bit of all 3 sets on this.
Right.
Wow.
Well,
there's a box set on Amazon you can get of each of the 3 shows or sets of shows, but that's you're paying big money for that. But
yeah, I've heard this before, but it might have been from Dr. Insomnia yesterday or today. Yardbirds were named after Charlie Yardbird Parker. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Charlie
Dr. Insomnia is our local classic rock Funk and Wagnalls, folks.
Oh my God, he knows everything. Yes.
Yeah, I thought I had a decent knowledge base.
Cheer up, Royce. Dr. Insomnia told me he was like the hugest Yardbirds fan, and he was saying, You better be on your toes tonight. Not those exact words, but I was like, oh shit, I want to do it twice the studying. Just messing with you. I like to learn.
Well, they are, like I said before, they're a seminal classic rock outfit, and they belong at the front of the line. Somewhere at the front of the line, if not at the very front of the line. With all respect to the Beatles and what they did when they first started, they were coming from a different set of pastures, right? And the Yardbirds were doing it, with a lot more grit. They were grittier first.
Well, John's were a 1616. He had it all dialed in high school. He goes, over, under, sideways, and down was a cool song you had to play for the chicks in high school just to make them take a look at you.
Yeah. That or House of the Rising Sun.
That's a great story.
I could always get a kiss while singing that one.
Oh, man, it's crazy. Okay, so let's see, folks. We were talking about, first of all, let me back up and regroup here for just a second, because we're kind of moving through some things here. So I better get some more Beck stuff out here. This is Beck's Blues, Jeff Beck. This is the defining sound of Jeff Beck with the Yardbirds. How cool is that?
Oh, I love that cover, dude.
Yeah, no, it's a great cover, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And guess what? Jeff Beck had the ultimate rock haircut, and he had it even before Keith Richards copied him. No, he's got the perfect rock haircut.
I think Rod Stewart might have had something in there.
I wonder if that's a Corvette Stingray he's leaning on, because it was a silver Corvette.
Good eye, Dan.
But you know
Why
what?
not?
Regardless of what Eric Clapton thought about some of these songs being a little too poppy, I absolutely love some of them. I really liked Heart of Soul, You're a Better Man Than I, Evil Hearted You, I'm a Man, The Train Kept a Rolling, I Ain't Doing Wrong, Still Blues, Side 2, I'm Not Talking, Shape of Things, New York City Blues, Stroll On from the motion picture Blow Up.
Oh, that's great.
What Do You Want, and Jeff's Blues. I mean, this is a great album.
I
got into Jeff Beck a lot more. Michael, have you ever seen this one before?
Which one?
The one you held up earlier.
Oh, you damn right. That's my favorite Jeff Beck album.
Okay.
Bar none. And I say that because there's about 3 more that come so damn close to it. But when it gets down to it, and I just turned to Jeff Beck, and I'm not in the mood for anything in particular, that's the album I'll grab without a thought.
Got it. Yeah, this has great songs on it, doesn't it?
Oh, it's great. Max Middleton on keyboards, Bobby Tench on vocals, Jeff Beck. I'm trying to remember who the bass player is. They were awesome. Freaking out. Bobby Tench was on bass, I think, also. Maybe.
As you could tell, I got into Beck, okay? Because
Cozy Powell on drums.
Truth was his first album, which I don't have, but this is Beck Ola is his second album he released. Okay,
right.
Get back out of some of this glare.
And he's on that album. It's a great album, and I'll buy it. I owned it before, but he's still finding his feet on Beck Ola for me, just a bit.
Well, this is kind of a funny comment on the back. It says, today, with all the hard competition in the music business, it's almost impossible to come up with anything totally original. So we haven't. However, at the time this album was made, the accent was on heavy music. So sit back and listen and try and decide if you can find a small place in your heads for it. That's great. Okay, so here we go. Blow by Blow, Beck's first all-instrumental album.
Yeah.
He even did a Beatles song on that one.
Yes, he did.
She's a Woman.
Okay.
She's a Woman. Yeah.
She's a Woman. Yeah, I'm looking right at it. Yeah. Okay, right on. I got one more Beck. I'm just gonna get through with them. Jeff Beck, Wired. I actually have 2 copies of this I discovered when I was pulling my albums for the show today.
Great pick.
Jeff Beck, Wired. I don't know
how I love him in that white,
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Lead boots, come dancing, goodbye pork pie hat. Interesting. Head for backstage pass. Side two, Blue Wind, Sophie, play with me, and love is green. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
guys. Let me get myself back.
I
Back
think
down to
Beck,
reality.
out of all those guys, was probably the one that went from guitar to guitar to guitar equally. You know, you'd watch. I never got to see him live, but I saw a ton of his live concerts on DVD and everything. And you know, at his shows, he started off with a Les Paul, then he's over to the Strat. You know, he'll play. He goes for what that guitar has to offer for the totality. He Jeff Beck, probably Jimmy Page too. And all three of these guys are masters at this, but I mean exceptional masters. I would say Jeff Beck and Joe Walsh come to mind as the guys who like to tinker with their guitars the most to make it sound different. They both were involved in electronics. Then Jimmy Page kind of got involved because of Jeff's interest when they were both still in the Yardbirds, and they even had some techie guys making pedals and shit for them.
Right.
You know, that reminds me of something about Jeff Beck and his guitar. The guitar that he gave Jimmy Page, they call it a 1959 Fender Telecaster. Okay, but when they tore it apart, there's parts in it that are actually 1958.
Oh,
so
wow.
they're thinking, you know, that they kind of pieced a lot of this together. Jeff Beck.
Yeah. Well, you know,
well, he liked to tinker, Dan, not just with guitars. He liked to build automobiles, and
you
know,
he's top grade mechanic. You know,
Dalek Shalom, whose comments up right now. Yeah, this is talk about fuel for thought. I wonder how Zepp would have had Terry Reid on vocals, or without Plant, or no Plant, no Bonham. You know, Plant brought Bonham in. So, yeah, that would have been yeah.
Well, I even did a video. It's one of my bigger videos where I supposed that, because it was the night that they almost became Led Zeppelin, and they were thinking of, even then they didn't have a vocalist tied down, but they were thinking of Terry Reid, the same old group of people. And it was a night that Keith Moon played with them, and John Entwistle was supposed to, but he didn't make it. So they got John Paul Jones on there, Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page putting it together, and they thought and even talked about creating a band with the two guitarists being Led Zeppelin. So that's what I talked about earlier. This whole story goes back, Led Zeppelin's story goes back 2 years prior to its very root beginnings. You know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we have talked about that too.
Yeah, because that's the Led Zeppelin we could have gotten. It almost happened. Tours by the musicians stopped it. Yeah, they toyed with this idea for a couple of weeks, maybe 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know.
Well, I love this comment here by Dwayne Wolotica. Beck's Bolero was the original embryo of Led Zeppelin. They considered Steve Winwood then too. I think.
Yeah, ask Jimmy Page what he thinks of Beck's Bolero.
Well, I think there was
more specifically on who wrote it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
That always remained right down to the death of Jeff Beck. That remained a bone of contention between them. Jimmy says it was based on an arrangement of chords. First of all, they were both ripping off an older standard that he came up with, and then Jeff Beck plays the lead, but it's Jimmy Page who says, I gave it its structure. There's no lyrics, therefore I wrote it. And Jeff Beck said, but I gave it its melody, which defined it, and his chords were based on an old standard, therefore I wrote it. And they just never agreed. Whenever they'd meet in public, they just agreed not to bring it up. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Just wondering if I could show off a little bit of the stuff I got, but you go ahead. You and Michael finish talking.
I was just going to mention that Alval brought up how Steve Marriott's vocals on "You Need Love" from the Small Faces is like Robert Plant's vocal influence for a whole lot of love. And I was listening. I listened to some Steve Marriott's lately, and pretty amazing. Okay, Chris, go ahead.
All right. Just one of the things I just came across, I forgot I had, and this is a really cool one. It's the BB Sessions.
by the Yardbirds.
Yeah.
You know,
Can you make me
I have not seen that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you make me big, Royce? I'll show you.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Here we go.
Yeah, it's got there's 26 songs on it. It's got
Wow.
all the way from Eric Clapton stuff through Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page too. All BBC sessions, just like
Wow.
the Cream or whatever else.
I'm salivating, Chris.
That's
Yeah.
got the last 6 tracks are all Jimmy Page. It's got Most Likely, Your Way, I'll Go Mine, Little Games, Drinking Muddy Water, Think About It, Good Night, Sweet Josephine.
Yeah.
And that's just that. Then I got another one that's got all of their biggest hits. This one's got 28 songs on it.
Oh, the best of the Yardbirds. Nice.
Including a lot of their really obscure singles in that, like Puff Bomb or Fiesta Volta. Just some of that. But one I just came across, and it's all Eric Clapton. It's
Oh, okay.
I got it as part of a collection, which is kind of a
Yardbirds
weird
here.
collection. But it was a collection with Rod Stewart album.
Really?
That's the collection it was with.
Okay.
Both
Wow.
completely different. One, the Rod Stewart, strictly Rod Stewart. The other one's strictly Clapton.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The
That's
Clapton
interesting.
one, it's got all the Yardbirds. There's 20 songs on it. A lot of live stuff. Let It Rock. You Can't Judge a Book by Looking at Its Cover. Who Do You Love? Take It Easy, Baby. Live with Sonny Boy Williamson, although probably the fake one.
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
Out on Water Coast. Boom Boom, Honey in Your Hips. Talk About Love. Baby, What's Wrong? My Little Cabin, again with live with us, Sonny Boy Williams. It's got 3 tracks from 5 live Yardbirds. Too Much Monkey Business, Smokestack Lightning.
Wow, that's amazing. You come up with
Here
this
It
stuff.
Is. And then it's got single versions of I Wish You Would, A Certain Girl, and Got to Hurry. Then the studio versions of Good Morning Little Schoolgirl, I Ain't Got You, Putty in Your Hands, and For Your Love.
Right on.
And that's
Wow.
and then I also have, if you don't mind me keep going on.
No, go ahead.
For Your Love always sounds very creamish to me.
Yeah.
And then going to Jimmy Page. And this has got a whole bunch of his session people that he worked with. It's 27 songs on the first disc, 26 songs on the other. It's got anything from Carter Lewis and the Southerners to the Kinks, Wayne Gibson, the Primitives, First Gear, Nico. Jimmy Page even did a session with John Mayall and the Yardbirds with Eric Clapton. I'm Your Witch Doctor, Telephone Blues, and On Top of the World are the 3 songs. All kinds of, like Fleur de Lis, Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page. There's 4 songs on here, but just the 2 of them. Another one, All Stars with Jimmy Page. That's I forget. It's Jimmy Page, Jack Bruce, and I forget who else, but it was an all-star concert that they recorded. And some other stuff with Eric Clapton, Snake Drive, West Coast Idea, Tribute to Elmore, James. And then what the hell, while I'm doing it, I might as well go for all 3 of them. There's Jeff Beck.
Oh yeah. Shape of Things.
Yeah. Groups and
Wow.
sessions.
Right.
That's got it, like the groups he was with, Screaming Lord Sutch and the Savages, the Fits and Starts, the Night Shift, the Yardbirds. It's got 7 different Yardbirds things on there. Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page doing the song Stealing and Chuckles. John's Children, Paul Jones. And it's got some Jeff Beck group stuff. The Smoke, even Donovan and Jeff Beck group. And the GTOs, that's the last group they have listed there. But
Okay.
all the Yardbirds stuff, it's just their biggest hits. Evil Hearted You, Still I'm Sad, Shapes of Things, Train Kept It Rolling.
That, Let me interrupt for just a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a bunch of stuff I wanted to respond to in the chat, but then it would come right back. Rock and Robin Bird wanted to know if Jimmy Page ever had a guitar stolen. Yes, he did. I made a video on it. I have a video in my playlist on the guitar that he got back. I think it was 26 years later. It was a black Les Paul custom with 3 pickups, had a couple of toggle switches, 2 or 3 maybe, that he had added to it. He never ever took that on the road with him except for one time, and it disappeared. And it was actually stolen by a baggage handler who had it underneath his bed for like 20 plus years.
Okay.
The baggage handler died, and his wife pulled it out, took it down and sold it to a music store. In the meantime, Page had advertised and called stores and advertised more, and he didn't really recognize it had been reworked a little bit. Then finally he found out that it was his, and he got his guitar back. I think it was, I'm going to have to go back and watch that video again because I made it 3 or 4 years ago, but I think it was 20 years after it had been stolen, he got his guitar back.
Yeah, the baggage handler's name was Charlie, and when Charlie was out getting a snack one day, I replaced that, and Jimmy's not getting his guitar back.
I'm sure he might have something to say about that.
In my dreams.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Right. And here's a poster that came with this is the other one. Jimmy Page and his Heavy Friends. It's also
nice.
Hip Young Guitar Slinger, it's called.
Yeah.
That's the one that I just showed you with.
Put that one back up close again, Chris. Put it
amazing
up close
there.
I wanted to look at those pickups. The pickup covers.
Yeah, and I'm looking for the 3 toggle switches to see if it was the one that was stolen at one time.
But that's all the.
Yeah.
But there's here. I don't know if that'll help. This is what he was playing at the time.
Wow.
Get that better.
Yeah, nice poster.
Yeah. That came with a different set. It's I got I don't know. It's like a coaster.
Okay.
This one's like I don't know, a sticker or something.
Gotcha.
And
I like that one.
It's called No Introduction Necessary, but it's got stuff with Albert Lee on there, Nicky Hopkins.
Yeah, it's amazing all the collaborations that were done over the years.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's pretty much what I got for now. I can read from the book later if you like, and I'm good.
Okay, well, we got a whole bunch more to go through first.
For sure.
And then,
for sure.
yeah. Okay, so let's make you small again, my brother, and let's see here. So, okay, yeah. Well, Jimmy Page's history with the Yardbirds started in 1966 when he actually joined as a bassist, which has been brought up, replacing Paul Samwell, but quickly moved to twin lead guitar with Jeff Beck. A lineup that birthed psychedelic rock hits like Happenings 10 Years Time Ago, one of the ones that was on the list that I read a little while ago. After Beck's departure, Page became the sole lead guitarist, of the Yardbirds. Okay, until the band's dissolution. Yardbirds, broke up in 1968, at which point he used the group's remaining tour obligations to form the new Yardbirds. Now, before we get too carried away here, folks, I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to get right back to what I was doing. But I was really pleased when I found this, and I've had it for probably at least 4 years. And it's it's been more like 5 or 6 years. The New Yardbirds, 1969 live rarities, the New Yardbirds. Okay. And this is just amazing as far as I'm concerned. If you look at the back, here's the guys. Okay,
that would have to be based on that show Dan and I were talking about.
Okay,
was it in the Netherlands or the?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Scandinavia, all those.
Scandinavia,
Denmark, the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny how that all kind of gets combined under one.
Yeah, then if that's true, you've got yourself one fucking great album, brother.
No, I love this damn thing. It's got Communications Breakdown. This is side one was recorded April 26, 1969. Communications Breakdown, I Can't Quit You, Killing For, Lemon Song. Side two recorded June 27th, 1969. Fresh Garbage Medley, including That's All Right, Dazed and Confused, White Summer, and Black Mountainside.
Stop it, you're making me drool.
Well, I was hoping I'd have that effect,
Oh, man.
They were recorded live at the Winterland and London's Playhouse Theatre for the BBC. So that maybe a little bit like what you have in the BBC.
No, it sounds like a different location. So it's not maybe those live shows, but it's right around the time I imagine that the performances are as good or better.
Yeah. So I thought it might be timely to get that out here since we were kind of right there with it all, guys. Right there.
I want one of those.
Well, everybody does, Michael.
Yeah.
So they wanted to go. So anyway, Page was the last man standing, and well, there were tour obligations from the Yardbirds. So he wanted to go. He was in a hurry to go fulfill those contractual obligations before they were all canceled. So so they did. They took off to do that, but he had to put a band together. Okay. So Jimmy Page's history with the Yardbirds was a transformative period that saw him transition from a high-profile session musician to the architect of Led Zeppelin. Okay, so here's what all goes down right here. Okay, so Page was twice offered the guitar slot. First, when Eric Clapton left in '68, he declined because he was a successful session player and didn't want to jeopardize his friend Jeff Beck's potential spot. He eventually recommended Beck for the role. The switch to bass, primarily, he finally joined in June '66 after bassist Paul Samuel Smith abruptly quit. He initially played electric bass until rhythm guitarist Chris Drasia learned the instrument, allowing Page to move to lead guitar. Okay. So anyway, so the dual guitar era with Jeff Beck was pretty damn cool for a brief period, but legendary period, 1966, the Yardbirds featured a twin lead guitar lineup with Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck, and these songs that we've already mentioned, like Happening 10 Years Time Ago, Stroll On, from the film Blow Up, they were part of the things that they collaborated, a couple that they collaborated on. Okay. So the band released their final studio album, Little Games, in '67 with Page on lead guitar. While commercial success waned, Page began incorporating experimental techniques such as playing the guitar with his violin bow. The only person I've ever seen do that. I'm sure others have copied since, but just absolutely amazing. Okay. So let's get on to putting the band together. The breakup in July of '68, the new Yardbirds. Keith Relf, the singer, Jim McCarty departed due to creative differences. So the birth of Led Zeppelin. This is the part I've been really wanting to get to. Page and manager Peter Grant were left with the Yardbirds name and several unfulfilled dates in Scandinavia. The new Yardbirds. Okay, so Page recruited vocalist Robert Plant after his first two choices, Steve Marriott out of the band The Small Faces and later Humble Pie, when Marriott's manager, the infamous Don Arden, Sharon Osbourne's father, heard that Jimmy Page was trying to recruit him, he asked Jimmy, how would you like to play with all your fingers broken? Play guitar with your fingers broken. And that ended that. That conversation ended right there. Okay. So the next person Jimmy Page approached was none other than Terry Reid, a.k.a. Terry Super Lungs Reid. And
R.I.P. He just passed away this year.
He just passed away a couple of months ago. That's right, Michael. Yep. Thank you. So anyway, Terry Reid, Super Lungs Reid, was offered the singing job. He also declined. Reid had started to make a name for himself, with his solo career. And by 1968, he started recording his own solo material. The guitarist quickly became known for his powerful singing style, and he is good too, earning him the nickname Super Lungs and his impressive songwriting ability. Okay,
And he thought that the Yardbirds were in passe.
yeah.
He didn't think there was a future for them.
Even John Bonham said that. When
Yeah.
Robert Plant said, "You ought to come join the band I'm joining," and Bonham said, "Well, what's the name of it?" He goes, "The Yardbirds." He goes, "Oh man, that's an old band. They're not going."
Yeah.
No.
And
Anyway,
what was happening at that time, that was kind of what was happening in England, but in America, the Yardbirds were as popular right up until the time they weren't the Yardbirds anymore. That's how they got onto Atlantic Records with Ahmet Ertegun and everything. They were like gods in America.
Right,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
So Super Lungs, with his impressive songwriting ability, the track Without Expression from his first solo record was later re-recorded by the Hollies, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, REO Speedwagon. So Reed's early solo career had clearly made an impact, and he was invited to open. Check this out, guys. This is why he didn't join. He was invited to open for both the Rolling Stones and Cream on their 68 tours. I want you to notice how I said Cream, not the Cream, Michael. Okay, so anyway,
he was proud of you, Royce.
He was going to open for the Rolling Stones and Cream. He actually told Jimmy Page, if you can just wait, we can do this. And Page, here's what Page said. Well, okay, first of all, such was the legend of Terry Reid that the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, once was quoted as saying, "There was only 3 things happening in England: the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and Terry Reid." Page wanted to form the group as soon as possible, but the frontman clashed with Reid's plan to go to America to open for the Rolling Stones and Kareem. Unable to wait, Reid remembers being told by Jimmy Page, "You've got to do it now, this week, or forget it." And Page offered to pay him everything he was going to get paid by the Stones and Cream. He offered to replace that salary. That's how bad he wanted him. Okay.
That ought to tell you, because he also financed Led Zeppelin's first album. He was successful not only, and he was frugal with his money. He pretty much financed that band.
Well, it was the smartest thing in the world he could possibly do. He was not going to be at the mercy of the record labels.
That's right.
And they gave Jimmy Page complete artistic freedom, and Page financed all the recording, and all the studio time. And
he could have asked for more.
Thing. Yeah, he probably
So but this was a different time. Ahmet and Jimmy and even Peter Grant, in his own gruff sort of way, they were men of their word. These are guys
men of their words
that would shake your hand, and it was like it was stamped in blood on a piece of legal document.
Yeah, just like Don Arden, right?
Right. No, okay. And then there's Mickey Most and Don Arden, and it's next year already, Royce, and that evil wench, Sharon Arden.
Yeah, right.
Okay. I've been real easy on her since August.
Yes, you have. Yes, you
have. I promised. I told I said there will come a time when we can start talking about the negative aspects of Ozzy Osbourne's life, and I've been respectful. But now's a good time to start telling the story, and I am going to dedicate an upcoming stream on that because. And how much respect I have for Ozzy. I've had to deal with demons myself, much like Ozzy had to. And I know the road he towed. He is a rock god, small g, indeed, of Mount Rock Olympus. There is no freaking doubt about it. But now let's document the story, so that's what I want to do.
Where I like to give Sharon a big pass is she saved his life.
She's looking real good these days too.
Yeah,
I will give you that. Yeah,
drinking and snorting himself to death when she showed up at his hotel room, helped to get him off of all that, or some of it.
Right.
and got him all cleaned up and suggested he started a solo career.
Well, Roy,
And
she gave him 2 extra weeks of life because if he had had his way, he would have died on stage on the next freaking concert. Because he wanted to tour, and then he wanted to do a small group of concerts. He would have died on stage. He
would have never been able to do it. Just to be able to get through that concert back to the beginning, he actually quit taking all his pain pills. So I can't even imagine the pain he was in.
Oh, he was in extreme pain.
Yeah,
but anyway, and the fact that she is now anybody that calls Roger Waters a twat waffle, hey Caitlin, is A-okay with me. So she's risen a notch.
Yes.
But there's the good and the bad. She's got a snake-like coil about her. You got to watch. But I'm pretty much in her camp these days. Though.
Yeah, so am I.
Well,
we wouldn't.
She was good for him overall, like Yoko was for John. We
wouldn't even have had a Ozzy solo career had she not come along. But anyway, I want to finish with Super Lungs turned down the offer, but he also suggested Page go see a young Birmingham-based vocalist, Robert Plant, who he described as the perfect role. I think he described him kind of as a golden goddess or something like that. Golden God, I think, not goddess, God. So anyway, Robert
he wore blouses, Royce. Maybe he was a golden goddess.
So Page, along with manager Peter Grant, went to Hobstweedle, a college in Birmingham where Plant was performing to a small group of mostly drunk on their ass guys. Very small group, in fact. But Page couldn't keep his eyes off of Plant. He was everything Super Lungs Reed said he was. And so after they got done performing, Jimmy Page goes over to Robert Plant and says, hey, introduced himself. And of course, everybody knew who Jimmy Page was. He said, listen, I'm putting a group together. Why don't you come down to my boathouse? Jimmy Page lived in this huge boat on the Thames River in Pangbourne. And so Robert Plant, unbeknownst to Jimmy at the time, was homeless. He didn't have a place to live. Yeah. So he went down there and spent several days there. And one time Jimmy Page said, I got to go for the day. Why don't you go through my albums and show me the ones that you would like to play? And when he got back, Robert Plant handed him these are the ones I chose. And Jimmy said, you know what? That was exactly the same albums I would have chose. And they kept talking about music and different things. And and Page concluded that this guy thinks just like I do. He has the same taste I do. I think he would be perfect for the job. And so they spent the time at the boathouse. He realized they had the same taste in music, invited Robert Plant to join the New Yardbirds, not Led Zeppelin, but the New Yardbirds. Plant accepted and told Jimmy Page, you have to come down and hear my drummer, John Bonham. Jimmy Page went to see Bonham play. Could not believe it. He absolutely could not believe it. Bonham was exactly what he'd been looking for. So then they contacted fellow session musician, had called earlier, wanting to know if Jimmy was putting anything together, John Paul Jones, and asked him to join the lineup as well. And the lineup was now complete. So the final lineup of what was to become Led Zeppelin became one of the most recognizable rock bands of all time. The band toured Scandinavia September 1968 under the name the New Yardbirds to fulfill their contract. Okay, but shortly after the tour, the band changed their name to Led Zeppelin. And Michael, you know the story well too. Derived from a joke by Keith Moon and John Entwistle, who came down to the studio and was watching them practice. And one of them said, boy, this is going to go down like a lead balloon. And one of them said, no, it's going to go down like a Led Zeppelin. They were laughing, and it was all in good humor, in fact, there was always a disagreement who was the first one to say Led Zeppelin, Keith Moon or John Entwistle. I believe it came down to Keith Moon. That's right. Yeah. So anyway,
because first of all, John Entwistle wasn't at that recording session.
Okay,
because they planned to have him. That's why John Paul Jones got the bass job. Was that John Entwistle didn't show up, and so he couldn't have said it at the time that they said that this was being said. Okay. It was during those recording sessions. right?
Gotcha.
So there's the story that both, a lot of people believe it's John Entwistle. From what I've read, from what I've gathered, it was Keith Moon. It had to be,
Right. Yeah. Well, okay.
And another thing, Royce, that you talk about the electric connection between Jimmy Page and John Bonham. That was the first real spark, not necessarily with Robert Plant. Jimmy knew he had the vocal chops. He knew that, but he didn't know if he had the stage presence, and he wouldn't get rid of those nagging doubts until after their first tour of America. And by the end of that tour, Robert Plant just grew into what we now know him to be, the rock god of classic rock, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So he still, and Robert would even say, Jimmy wasn't the only one that had doubts about me. I did. I didn't know how I'd fit into this,
Well, and it took a little time before, he got the confidence.
Well, they go, we need a lyricist, and he goes, oh, so that's part of the job, huh? Okay. And he became basically their primary lyricist, So he didn't just get the job singing, man. The guy was a songwriter, and it was kind of put on him to do it,
Right. Yeah, I love this comment by Dr. Insomnia. Page, Page, a session musician, didn't want to walk away from all that Herman's Hermit money. That's
well,
classic.
in their day, man, that's all you heard. I'm Henry VIII. I am good.
Right.
That song.
Yeah, Dawson's been on fire tonight too. There's a bunch of his stuff I was going to quote, but we're always tied up into something. But anyway, so Dawson Walters, he's one of our rotating horsemen when somebody can't make it, and we always enjoy Dawson. He's great. So anyway, okay. So you guys go ahead. I'm just kind of scrolling to the chat, throwing some comments up here and there. Peter Blue is better. Okay. Chris, you had something else that you wanted to, yeah.
Well, I still got a whole bunch of stuff I could show off, but I'll just read from the book instead.
Yeah, okay.
Wait a minute. The Holy Book. Okay, Chris. I just wanted to give you an introduction.
Right, okay, I can read a little bit about Jeff Beck to fill in kind of what in between the lines what you were talking about, Royce, if you like.
Absolutely.
All right. Right, born in Surrey, England, June 1944. Wimbledon Art College, established himself as one of UK's all-time great hero acts. His 2-year stint with the Yardbirds, from whom he split in 1966. Then in 67, he had a UK solo hit with a Hi-Ho Silver Lining, which was reissued on his 72 album. And the following year, with even more bizarre Love is Blue, before forming the Jeff Beck Group with Rod Stewart on vocals, Ron Wood on bass, Mick Waller drums, and later Nicky Hopkins on piano. An enhanced, already a considerable reputation with a series of rowdy, outrageous gigs, mostly in the U.S., and 2 patchily excellent albums, Truth and Beckola, from 68 and 69, consecutively.
Wow, the book just rolls right over the second incarnation of the Jeff Beck Group. That's interesting.
Oh, we haven't even gotten there yet.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Their music was basically bluesy hard rock. Wood and Stewart contributed 1 or 2 originals, but it was the band's exciting reworkings of blues and contemporary material that pulled the crowds. Also the teaming of Beck and Stewart, privately the two were frequently at each other's throats, was like nothing heard in rock before, and like nothing that was to be heard again until Jimmy Page squared off Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin. A continually hassle-prone outfit, the Jeff Beck Group eventually burned itself out in 1969, and Wood and Stewart went to join the Faces, who came out of the Small Faces when that band fell apart. Beck attempts to form a band with Tim Bogart and Carmen Appice, late of Vanilla Fudge, but project fell through when the guitarist sustained injuries in a car smash. He was out of action for 18 months. Bogart and Appice formed Cactus, and Beck resurfaced in 1971 with another Jeff Beck group featuring Cozy Powell's on drums, Max Middleton piano, Clive Chapman bass, and Robert Tench vocals. This band made 2 albums, Rough and Ready 1971 and the Jeff Beck Group 1972, but Beck declared it unsatisfactory.
You were so wrong.
Yeah,
that is one of the best albums in rock.
I agree.
These rock artists, sometimes they don't even know. It's like when Paul McCartney gave a final listen to Sgt. Pepper just before they were going to ship it. He thought the whole damn album was out of tune, and he lost all confidence, you know? Yeah. And I think, because I'm telling you right now, that second Jeff Beck group, the album, the White Album, God, that is just a rock masterpiece, Chris.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I'll continue. Don't mean to cut you off.
No. I was just adding some color.
Oh, absolutely. I just didn't want to sound like I was being sharp or anything.
No. I didn't take it that way.
Well, we're used to it, Chris. We're used to it.
Okay. All right. So the breakup of Cactus subsequently allowed him to form the group he had long wanted, Beck, Bogart, and Appice. But this too was relatively short-lived. And after a lengthy layoff, Beck returned in 1975 with Blow by Blow, the first of his increasingly commercially successful exercises in jazz rock fusion.
Everybody had that album.
Oh, yeah.
That and Wired.
Yeah, the second was Wired 1976.
Yeah.
With George Martin producing and Jan Hammer synthesizer. Beck had by then joined the Jan Hammer group to tour with co-billingly together with he joined the Jan Hammer group along as a co-billing, and together they cut live in 1977.
And that I want that on vinyl so bad. That is one of the best live albums. Oh my God, Jan Hammer and Jeff Beck. It's almost like space rock, Chris.
In fact, that's the only album I have by Jeff Beck is live with Jan Hammer in '77.
That first cut, Darkness, Earth in Search for a Sun. Oh,
there you go.
Yeah,
that's the one.
That's it. That's it.
Hey, good night. Good night, Johnny. Good night.
So in the last little bit, and one of the greatest guitar players to emerge in rock, only Clapton and Hendrix can truly be said to have surpassed him for imagination, excitement, technique, and sheer fuel. Beck's tragedy is that he's also thoroughly inconsistent and a law purely unto himself.
Yep.
Many of his most ardent supporters, in addition, feel that his current tragedy is to be piddling around with jazz rock, no matter that it's handsomely paid his rent. First 2 albums later, coupled for a double album release. So
I loved him right up to the day he died. He never disappointed me. He went his own way. You know, Clapton went his own way. Page was more of a team player, but Clapton would go from band to band. Jeff Beck would create band after band.
Yeah.
You know, it was always his. Yeah. Then he'd get pissed off. And he couldn't figure out why those bands didn't work out. And there was only one common denominator.
And I want to read this because I was aware of this. I didn't mention it tonight, but John Paul Jones's wife insisted he call Jimmy Page because Jimmy Page was forming a new group. So John Paul Jones was getting tired of his session work, and that's when that was what got John Paul Jones pretty much in.
She was tired at his bitching when he'd come home from a session that he was so unhappy about it that she said, "Well, if he is starting a band, you go get him." She wanted him out of the house.
Basically,
you know,
too much.
Right.
She didn't want him moping around the house. Bitching in front of the kids. That's how he got the gig.
Right.
Well, Mike,
that's a great story.
Like did it take even 10 seconds, you think, for Page to say, yes, you're in? Or did it take about 3 seconds?
Yeah, I'm wondering why Page didn't call him. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a no-brainer once he said, "I hear you're joining the band. Do you need a bass player?" And Page, according to the story, immediately said, "You're in." But at the same time, it's curious that Page. I mean, these guys worked together. They were half of England's version of the Wrecking Crew. Okay. They were on more records than the Beatles. I mean, why didn't he think of John Paul Jones right away?
Right.
You know?
Right. Let me throw something out here, guys. First of all, I have no idea where we are with likes. How many people have hit the like button, that kind of a thing. No idea. I can't really see it here, but I want to say if you haven't hit the like button, please do me a proper and hit the like button. And the other thing I want to ask is if you're
I have.
Oh, good. Thank you.
You're at 33.
Oh, 33. Thank you, Dan. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and smash that on-screen subscribe button. And if you'd like, hit that notification bell, and that'll give you a one-time notification when new shows are coming on. The Four Horsemen goes live every Sunday with a live podcast. That's this podcast, started at 6:30 p.m. Always at the same time, 6:30 p.m. every Sunday. But you'll notice if you go to the channel that we throw in some midweek stuff as often as we can. And we also have a membership, and the membership comes with a lot of private videos, members only videos. And we've got in the 500 range of rock videos, plus the membership with some videos. So check us out. If you like rock and roll, if you like shows like this, I think you'll enjoy being a subscriber. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, of course. So thanks very much, folks. Thanks very much. So you guys, whoever was talking, you just go right ahead. Keep talking.
I think Chris was up, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think he was, yeah.
Forget what I was saying though. It was tied into what you were saying, and then I forgot, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. I mean, it's so involved, this whole thing. When you've got a huge band, early 60s vintage, early to mid, and then you've got the three iconic guitarists that played in that band and what happened afterward. I mean, there's just so many twists and turns here. Well, and yeah.
You were showing that album with the lineage, eh?
Yes.
If you really did it, and depending on how strict you want, you could touch almost every single band just from the Yardbirds. I mean, for example, I'll just give you an example.
Right.
You can connect Deep Purple to the Yardbirds via Jimmy Page, via Coverdale Page, via Whitesnake, via Deep Purple. Mm-hmm. How far back do you want to go? Or you can even go to Rainbow from the Deep Purple to Richie Blackmore connection. I mean, from the Yardbirds, you can get just about anywhere in the world of rock.
That's kind of like
since Ronnie James Dio sang for Deep Purple, then there's the Black Sabbath.
Connection. That's what I mean. If you, depending on how strict you want your parameters, you can touch just about every band.
Yeah, instead of that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, it's 6 degrees of the Yardbirds.
Right. Well, that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the stream. This is proto classic rock. This is to class. The Yardbirds is to classic rock what the Moody Blues was to prog. Okay, the Moody Blues, and I'm not talking about some obscure band that never quite made it, that made an album before the Moody Blues, kind of with their approach. But the Moody Blues was the first big band to truly be what I consider prog rock. Okay. And so with the Yardbirds, I give them as the first band of classic rock, because the Beatles, in my view, come in before classic rock, the early Beatles. But again, with Around Rubber Soul time, the Beatles would merge into the classic rock scene. But it was these other bands before the Beatles merged. It was the Yardbirds that was the one that sounded more classic rock than all those early bands, including The Who at that time. All right. Mm-hmm. So, bam, and then you connect all the people that Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones played for, and then who they're connected to. I mean, Jimmy Page played for Donovan. Donovan hung out with the Beatles, and John learned finger picking progression, and he wrote Julia. You know, I mean, it goes insane when you think of that's how big the Yardbirds are. And if anybody's watching this tonight and you haven't really listened to them, do yourself a favor and join in and truly become a classic rock fan. You know?
Yeah, Michael, consider this now. Consider this, okay? You could connect tons of musicians to Led Zeppelin just to Jimmy Page's session work. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. And John Paul Jones's. I mean, he did arranging and recording with Procol Harum. And who are they connected to? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Robin Trower, Bridge of Sighs. Oh my God! You know, I mean, it just doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't stop, does it? That's great.
Well, hey, you can go all the way to Them Crooked Vultures with John Paul Jones.
Yep.
That goes. You can go to the Foo Fighters from there.
Yeah, Velvet Underground, grunge. Oh, now we have a grunge connection.
The Black Crowes through Jimmy Page. I mean,
I have that album, that box set. I mean.
Who were connected to the Stones by being the newly updated Stones bands of the early 90s. So therefore they have a Rolling Stones connect. You know, I mean, it's like DNA, brother.
Yeah.
It's like
DNA.
DNA.
I got a question for you, Chris.
yes.
It was only, well, I don't know how recent, but when that Jimmy Page and Black Crowes Live at the Greek was first released, for contractual reasons with the record label, the Black Crowes, none of their singing could be on it, you know.
Right.
Now, which one do you have? Mine has it with the Black Crowes on it.
Yeah, it's the 3 CD set.
Oh, okay. Right on.
See, I'd like the one with the Black Crowes, but I'd be real happy with, because I owned it on CD, with the original recordings. Is just fine with me. That's one I'm looking to get, at least that one. But I'd love to get the one we did a stream on that.
We did an unboxing with mine.
Yeah. I'd love to have that album. As a matter of fact.
Now, which one? The first release was the first release without the Black Crowes on it. Was that what it was?
Yeah, because the record company wouldn't allow any of the Black Crowes music to be released on a different label.
Right.
And the one I had was all just Jimmy Page stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
there's the tour poster that went with it.
Okay.
I love the artwork too. Simple, black, white. Yeah. I love it. Yin, yang.
That's right.
Very simple, iconic. Absolutely iconic. Simple.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes along with symbology of what Jimmy Page, did with the 4 symbols and all of that,
Right. I made it to the bottom. Made it to the bottom of the chat. Yeah. Well, I you know what? I think, guys, it's what is it, like almost 8:30. It's time for some closing comments. I'll start first and just say that I thought this was a great show to kick off the new year. Yardbirds, 3 of the greatest guitarists of all time, one of the greatest, classic rock bands of all time. It just kind of, to me, it just, I knew it was going to take some time to do it. And the truth is, I just brought a sampling of albums, and I haven't even shown the few, I've got all Led Zeppelin studio albums, compilations, CDs, I've been waiting for Celebration Day on album. I paid for it with one company. I'm on a waiting list at another company, but I paid for it with this one company for probably at least a year and a half ago, and it still hasn't been printed. So anyway, I didn't want to bring like my whole collection of Led Zeppelin, but just the early stuff, the Led Zeppelin 1 that came out right after the Yardbirds, they changed their name to Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin 2, the follow-up that had a whole lot of love on it that kind of woke a lot of people up to Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin 3, not real popular when it first came out, but grew in popularity, become something like 7 times platinum. And then, of course, the iconic Led Zeppelin 4 with Stairway to Heaven, or Zoso, or the Four Symbols, oftentimes referred to as Led Zeppelin 4. But anyway, so I just got through the albums I had pulled to talk about. And so that's it, guys. I want to thank the chat for hanging with us. Doesn't look like I'm at the bottom anymore.
No, you got back that.
Yeah, no, that's good. Kate, love the cult. Doc Insomnia.
Clapton, I can show some pictures from here too.
Yeah, go ahead. Just remember, there was no such thing as classic rock in the 60s. That term was invented by some radio programmer in the 80s. Okay, thanks, Doc Insomnia. That's a really good point.
Well, but a lot of things get branded, heavy metal. The very term heavy metal is a post brand. Nobody was calling Black Sabbath heavy metal. Not us original fans.
Novice Nick says, great show, sir. Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Michael.
I was just going to say, boys, I don't know if I can even do this. Let me see if I can bring this over. I kind of shared this on my channel. This is how my warped brain thinks. First of all, like everybody else, I order all of my albums in alphabetical order. A is for Aerosmith, I said. B is for Beatles. C, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. And you would think Led Zeppelin would be in the L's. And no, I cheated because they're Zeppelin, man. All right, so they're the beginnings of my Z's, right? And I've got all the albums you talked about, and I know you have more too. Like I have the 50th anniversary of the Led Zeppelin 4 clear disc and all of that. My Led Zeppelin 2 is actually a double disc. It has the alternative mixes.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm looking for those as well. And then I've got, of course, Coda, a couple of bootlegs, and then I've got Robert Plant, Principle of Moments, Saving Grace, which congratulations on you getting Saving Grace. That is a great album. Look, connected right to them, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and the Yardbirds.
That's right.
So if it sounds like I've been pontificating tonight about how important this band is, for me, when I go and I'm in a Zeppelin mood usually, or if I'm in I know right where to go. And these are the DNA parts. Remember, we connected the dots to so many bands. And out of my small, meager LP collection, 151, Royce is sending me to. So when I get those, that'll be 151 albums. That's right. Small.
I'll try to get those out. I'll try to get those out tomorrow.
Oh, that's fine.
We've already been talking about it for like 3 months.
Yeah, but what I was saying is that out of my small collection, this is the one that not even the Beatles are under B, for God's sake, you know, and they're my favorite band, but it's like a paper thin razor edge kind of difference between the Beatles and Led Zeppelin for me. And for the last couple of years, my channel was established on both the Beatles and Led Zeppelin, but it really grew when I covered Led Zeppelin. I've just been in a Led Zeppelin kind of mood, I've been buying as many as I can. When I see them, I snatch them up, right? But there's my Led Zeppelin universe. How many of you viewers out there right now do the same thing? If not for Led Zeppelin, but for your favorite band, the Stones and anything that Nicky Hopkins was on, or when do you guys break your universe's rules? Because I can't help but do it every once in a while, you know?
Two examples that immediately come to mind. Rainbow, the first Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow and Rainbow, I combined those two. Okay. And what was the other one? Oh shit, there's a couple.
Along with Deep Purple?
Nope, I keep Deep Purple separate.
Really? See? In my warped universe, I'd go Deep Purple, and they all go under Deep Purple.
Yeah, well,
see, with me, some bands you want to start with, the first letter in the first name, and another band you want to start with the first letter in the second name.
I even broke that rule. Instead of L for Led Zeppelin, I chose Z for Zeppelin. You know,
Well, I did too. I put
because
Z
it's
for
that
Zeppelin.
important for me to put this at the end. This is the last crate I have. I have 5 crates, and this is the last crate I have, and it's at the very end in a corner, kind
Right.
of tilting up at me. And every time I go into the
Well,
living room, it goes, I beckon unto you.
I don't have a crate. I've got those shelves back there.
Yeah.
You know, and I bought that I think for $70. A very nice shelving
Wow.
unit, you know.
Wow.
And there's close to 600 albums on there. And then of course I got a little bit of artwork right there, you know. Let's see, I got Hendrix, the Beatles, and Elvis right there.
Yeah,
Over
yeah.
Here, I want to take a picture of all my artwork. Here's another Hendrix. Here's another Bob Marley. I'd like to cover Bob Marley again before too much longer. Anyway, my best art is out in the entry hall, hanging on our walls. I've got an actual original of Jimmy Page playing the double neck, an original of Jimi Hendrix in the white fringe playing at Woodstock, and these are pretty good size. And I have an original of Frank Zappa, and then I have a numbered Robert Plant, one of, I don't know, 200 or 50 or something, to look at it again. I have a print of the Who. Let's see, that's probably pretty much it, I guess. Pretty much it. So anyway, Dan, we haven't heard from you in a little bit. We're doing these closing statements and all.
Well, what I'd like to say is kind of self-serving. I'd like to invite everybody over to my YouTube page, Just the Facts Man. I just posted a video. You know, I was over in London and Birmingham a couple of weeks ago, and I got to spend the day with the band called the Black Eyed Sons. And I followed them through their entire concert thing, from loading into gear to sound check, backstage, the concert, you know, the loadout, the after party. I got it all in one video.
Great video, Dan. I saw it. I even encouraged everybody on my stream to go over and watch that. Very well done, brother. Extremely well done.
Yeah, it was really a great job on it, and that's a great band too.
They really are.
Our friend Paul Gurin that we interviewed is the lead guitarist in it.
The guitar player. Plus,
great slide player too.
I love it. Just pre-show or during rehearsal, he didn't quite have the tone of his guitar, and he's going back down to the pedal. You know, I can't think of how many times I would have to do that on stage.
That's right. I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved it because he dialed the tone he wanted that fast. I was never that quick. Yeah, I'm always uncertain in my intonations live with boxes. I was never a master. I didn't use a lot of them, but man, you know, the guy just dialed it in. You knew, okay, we're talking pro here.
Yeah, their debut album is about a year old now, and they just went on their very first tour in the UK. And the show that I was at was the very last show on the UK tour. So they're coming up with more dates in 2026, and I may head back over there again.
Yeah,
to cover that.
I'll say it again. I encourage everybody to watch the video. It's not very long. It won't take you very long.
No,
but be sure to give him a thumbs up. All right. Because if he can get the thumbs up, then, you know, they'll dump that thing into the home feeds of all of us. And then a lot more people will see it. It's worth a watch, folks. It really is.
Oh, absolutely, Dan.
And also, I'm currently working on my next video. It's my trip to Birmingham. Where I covered everything that was Ozzy up there.
Yeah. That's what I'm excited
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I got so much. It's going to take a while to get through all.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, take your time, Dan.
It'll be worth the wait. So yeah.
Both Royce and I will promote the hell out of that.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the cooler places I got to visit was the Crown Pub. That's where. That's where the heavy metal began. You know, that's where Black Sabbath.
I've heard the name. I'm not sure where it is, but I've heard the name.
It's right. Once you get to the train station in Birmingham, as soon as you step out of the station, there's the Crown Pub right there.
Yeah.
So that was easy access. Of course, then I went up and saw the Black Sabbath wall. I went to the museum, went to the Black Sabbath bench where they had the memorial for Ozzy. Got footage there. Wow. Went to his childhood home. Got some video there.
So historic. Oh my God.
Then I went to the villa where they had the Back to the Beginning concert. I didn't go inside, but I was on the outside filming. So
right. Yeah.
But yeah, you know, plus just being in London was a lot of fun too. I got a lot of London. You know, I went to on the tour and saw Big Ben.
Was that your first time?
First time, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I
Exciting.
went shopping at Harrods. You know, left a little more poor when I left there, but
Did you find Harry Nelson's flat where both Mama Cass and Keith Moon?
no, I wish I would have had a couple more days there because Paul, you know, Paul had a whole lot of sites he wanted to go visit with me.
Oh, cool.
That's
even better. Yeah.
Yeah, because he lives up in Newcastle, but he lived in London for quite a while.
Yeah.
And there's something else. Remember when we interviewed Paul? He was talking about one of the very first bands he was in London. It was called the Red Dogs.
Yes.
Okay. Now there's been a lineup change in the Black Eyed Sons, where the bass player just left and he brought in his old pal from the Red Dogs playing bass on.
Oh, is that right?
The Black Eyed Sons now. So, and
nice.
I tell you, those are the friendliest guys. And
it looked like it. It looked like it.
Someone else I met too. It's a guy named Alan Clayton, and he's a singer for the Dirty Strangers. He is Keith Richards' best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You talking about that.
So now I've kind of got a connection to the Rolling Stones. So I'm hoping I could, Alan's a really nice guy. I got along great with Alan. So I'm going to try to get an interview with Alan, and hopefully, maybe I could get a Keith Richards thing going,
Oh my God. That'd be amazing.
Because I noticed Alan spent the Christmas with Keith Richards, so
oh, wow.
That was just like 4 days after I saw him. So, I might be able to get something going there. I'm going to work on it. But if I get I guarantee if I get an interview with Keith Richards, I'm flying back over there.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be amazing.
But yeah, it was a great trip.
Awesome.
I loved it. And luckily, I came back with the flu, but I didn't come down sick till the day I left. The day I was
Hey, Dan, you might, if you can make an establishment with Keith Richards. He lives in the United States now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, he was over in England because I saw pictures during Christmas time with Alan.
Yeah. No, I'm sure he goes back, but his primary residence is somewhere, is it Kentucky or Tennessee or something like that? Okay. And that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to have to tour, put a kibosh in 2026, is because his primary residence is in the United States these days.
Okay.
So, but you might want to look that up because that might give you a direction to contact him. Yeah, that would even be easier on you.
Yeah. Now, Alan Clayton, back in 1984 is when he first met Keith Richards, and because of the Rolling Stones, he got his first album recorded and released because of the Rolling Stones. So that was pretty.
Yeah.
Cool. That's crazy.
Awesome.
That's way cool, brother.
Cool things coming up, man.
So we've got Just the Facts Man. His name is Dan. Just got back from Birmingham, England. Brought footage. Got some videos on his channel. There'll be more coming.
Yeah.
And boy, we're really going to promote that. We want to get everybody over there to see it. That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it may take a couple more weeks because I got to do some voiceover.
Oh yeah. No worries. No worries, man. That's awesome. So any other closing statements? Because we've been going for over 2 hours now.
I think I'm good. I got all the advertising
pretty much ready to shut her down here.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me on, Royce, as always.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you guys.
I had a real pleasant evening with all three of you. I really did. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, panel. You guys are fantastic. We got our good friend Doc Samnia. Man, he wants you to know, Michael, that Z is for Zappa. Z is for Zappa, and I got.
He knows Zappa. I was talking on my stream that the same friend who turned me on to Page and Clapton and Jeff Beck also turned me on to Zappa, and I said on my stream, but I go, but it didn't take.
Well, it's an acquired taste. I don't.
It is. I've got to reassess him because
a lot of it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I haven't gone back to re-listen to him. It's all based on decades-old prejudices, and like I said, sometimes even this old dog can learn a new trick or two. So he's on a list, but he's just not the next one I'm going to listen to. But he's one of those ones that I really do need. Because I've met so many of you fine folks right up here on this show who just love the hell out of the guy. Well, maybe I missed something,
My biggest video of all is Frank Zappa. 68,000 plus views.
Oh, and it's not like it's a large group, but they are the most devoted fans on the planet, man.
I've done a lot of videos on him.
Yeah.
He invited John and Yoko up to play with him after he was done with the Mothers of Invention at the Fillmore East, and they jammed together. The tape was rolling. He said we could both take a copy of it and use it any way you want. Well, they actually stole one of his songs, King Kong, gave it a new name, and took writing credit for it. But he was a cool dude. He just let it. He didn't give a shit. He just let it go. I mean, he kind of cared, but it wasn't. He never.
Well,
made a
they
deal out
all
of it.
came from the era that's what they did. It's not the first time John ripped off somebody. Come Together was ripped off from Chuck Berry, and Paul McCartney had to go in there and slow it down with that bass line and that swampy piano sound and everything, and reinvent the song because he knew they were in for a lawsuit.
Right. Yeah, I want Dwayne Wolonica to know. He says so many artists and bands from the Birmingham and the Midlands. I actually did a show on Birmingham and the Midlands and listed a ton of bands like the Moody Blues and all those guys.
Yeah.
And
I remember
all
being surprised by some of the bands that came out of that area.
I was surprised too. But I've got a lot of Zappa shows up, not just the John and Yoko one. I've got John Wayne wanted to kick Zappa's ass at one of the clubs on Sunset.
Oh yeah, yeah.
John Wayne want to kick somebody's ass?
He came in drunk with his bodyguards and said, "I remember you, Zappa. We met in Egypt. You were performing there, and then you blew me, And so Zappa said, so this was Zappa's opportunity to get even with him. He goes, well, we wanted to have the president of the American Nazi party here tonight, but all we could get was Frank Zappa. And Zappa, like I said, all we could get is John Wayne and Zappa talking.
Right.
Wayne jumped up out of his seat drunk and started yelling, and his bodyguards were holding him back, and they were all yelling at Zappa, "You better cut it out! You better shut up!"
I can just hear the Duke going, "I won't hit you. I won't hit you. Like hell, I won't hit you." Oh Lord!
All right, so thanks, panel.
All hail the Duke. I don't care. I love him.
Hey, one last thing.
Yeah,
we were talking about bands connecting everything. I just threw a link in your chat, Royce. That's a video for These Arms of Mine by a charity group called Willie and the Poor Boys, which features Jimmy Page, Paul Rogers, and a whole bunch of the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
And it was actually the precursor to Page and Paul Rogers becoming the Firm. But it's a cool video. I just threw it in there if anybody wants
to.
Well, I'm still scrolling trying to find it.
You're working your way down to it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how fast you get behind on the chat.
Oh, that was one other thing about Jimmy Page too, about his guitars. When he was with the Firm, the guitar that he was using, the neck of the guitar was the neck of the guitar that Jeff Beck gave him that was destroyed. He redid it all, but the neck was
Frankensteined it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
The link there.
Where is the link?
It's a pretty cool video. Paul Rogers, Charlie Watts is there. I think Bill Wyman's in it.
Nice.
It's almost 9 o'clock.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, we got to get going. We've been going a long time.
I hear Kimberly.
I know we're putting our dog to sleep tomorrow.
Yeah, you heard her, did you, Dan?
And so my wife, it's a really kind of a sad night for us, emotional night.
Condolences to you, Royce. Sorry
We've
about
had this dog for 17 years, so my wife's been sitting out there very sad. So
hey,
anyway, guys,
Dan heard you.
Thank you all so much, and that's good. Hi, Kimberly, and that's what's happening in Royce's world tonight. And we'll see you guys all next time. Thank you.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.